This is a Pokemon game where mysterious things keep happening. I played Pokemon Voyager, an amazing ROM hack filled with awesome features and an amazing freaking story. We got to capture Fakemon, hunt down a mysterious criminal, and enjoy a ton of amazing features. So, if you are ready, let's go. So, we start off our journey in Voyager, but of course, making our character. We decide to choose between a lot of different options for actual outfits, because yes, this game has a lot of variety in terms of what you can change, the gameplay, the difficulty, as well as customization. As we begin, we meet our dad. He's telling us, hey, your mom's actually starting her gym. Because yes, in this game, your mother is a gym leader instead of your dad, which is something that only really happens in the Hoenn games of Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire. Either way, though, we get a quest, and as you can see, this game does have side quests, main quests, and a quest log that you can actually follow. And I will also say, this will be noticeable a bit later on, but our choices actually matter. Either way, we head with our father into the actual old gym where our mom used to run her gym before, except now she's moving to a better facility. All of a sudden, though, there is an earthquake, and now everything's gone to shit, so we gotta help out our dad who's been injured and try to find a way out of this mess. So we're stuck down here, we get a few potions, and we get 3 Pokemon from our dad to just use while we're down here. Now that we've got that, we head into the buried caverns. We also check out our team, and it looks like we have 3 Pokemon. We've got Kipvine, we've got a Sleepy, and we also got Ryad, which is really awesome looking Pokemon. These are Fakemon, as I mentioned. This game does have Fakemon, but don't worry, there are still regular Pokemon as well. But in terms of starters, you will find these. So either way, we actually get to use all 3 of them in the beginning here. We go around, we find a few different Pokemon. As you may notice, the way that the actual combat system works, the way we've set it up, is that you can actually see what Pokemon you're going to encounter as you're encountering it before you can actually decide if you want to ignore it or not. So as you can see right here, we run into a weird spider-looking Pokemon, and we decide not to get it. We find a green shard, which is really weird, and it will be important for the plot later on, so pay attention. Either way, once we picked it up, we decide, okay, let's look around and figure out what to do. We see a wall, we hear a noise from the other side, we call for help, and we hear that somebody is there. It's a man, and he decides, oh boy, okay, there's a child on the other side. He's got to help us out. So he actually uses his Lairon, and this is pretty cool, a little cutscene. I think it's really cool in Pokemon. Fan games do this kind of stuff, and they actually include these kind of things. And there it is. He comes in, he saves us with a Lairon, and he gets us back to our family. And luckily, he also found our dad. So we decide to finish up the quest here, and then we are at the hospital. We're helping out our dad, just talking to him, checking in on him, telling him what actually happened, and we found a crystal down there. When all of a sudden, as we're doing this, we also get the choice to decide on which starter we want to go for. As I already mentioned, we of course have Sleepy, which I think is really cool, Kipvine, which is the grass type cat, and also we have Ryad, which I think looks like a really cool little water fish. But I decide, okay, I'm gonna go for specifically Kipvine. Yes, it is the cat. I know it may not be the coolest choice in the world, but I decided, you know what, this is a pretty cool creature. It's pretty awesome. It's got like a wine-like tail, and also it kind of reminds me a little bit of, I guess, Sprigatito from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So I was like, okay, let's just go for that one. Either way, all of a sudden a man runs in, and we get to learn that this is the professor of this region. He actually came here as he also kind of like just, I don't know, wants to learn some stuff about the rock we found. So he tells us, well, he's here. He wants us to become a trainer for him and work for him to help him figure out what was going on. He also wants us to go over to the old gym where currently his, I guess, workers, his helpers, his assistants are actually digging up a bunch of fossils and stuff that were found in that cavern. So he gives us a house key, or we actually get a house key from our mom to get home, get ourselves set up, and get ourselves ready, because now we got to get our bag, got to get our shoes, and head out into the big wide world. And as you can see, there is a lot of these quests that will unlock as you're going through the game, and some of them are side quests, a lot of them are main quests, but nonetheless though, we talk to our mom. She tells us she's going to take us to the Pokemon school. The reason the professor didn't want to like instantly take us with him is because we need to have a Pokemon license, and to get that we got to go to school first. As we're heading to school though, we run into this weird situation going on. It's this weird guy, part of seemingly an evil team, or at least that's what it feels like. He's talking about how this region is too small, there's not enough space or land left, and that eventually all the Pokemon are going to die out. And it turns out he's part of Team Nova. They're kind of like a ecological, eco-friendly world, kind of like Greenpeace type organization, but they have a sprinkles of evil and, you know, stuff like that on them. We take on one of the actual members, and he has a really badass looking Pokemon. We go for Wine Whip. Now, we don't have a Pokedex, so we can't actually tell what Pokemon this is, but it hits us with a Plasma Bolt, which is, wow, that's just different. I'm assuming it's electric type and grass type based on the actual design of it. I don't really know what typing this thing is just yet, but nonetheless, we do take it down, get a bit of a level up as well. We also learn the move Lick, and perfectly, we've taken taken down one of the Team Nova members. Now that he's sorted though, we still do have to deal with, well, the situation. So a police officer comes around and deals with the Nova recruit and sends him, I guess recruiter, and sends him away. He just pisses off and, well, the police officer tells us after a bit that, hey, don't worry about that. You should head over to the actual, school, get your education done. So that's what we're going to do. On our way there though, we run into a little girl and she is needing some help. She doesn't know what direction to go to get to the school and get to the Andromeda Park. So we actually look at the map for her and we tell her. Now, as you guys may have noticed there's actually 3 different type of choices you can have as you're doing these quests, right? You have different dialogue options. Either way though, as we're standing here, we get 3 dialogue options. We can just kind of be rude, we can be normal, we can be neutral. We decide to be, I think in this case, neutral, but yeah, this is actually going to be our rival. We get to nickname him and I decide, okay, you know what? I'm just going to call him Bob. It just feels like the perfect name for a guy that looks like this. I don't know. It just looks like a Bob. Look at his face. Either way, after we do this, we actually have to still interact with this guy and he tells us to head inside of the actual school because there we'll be able to get our education done. So once we're in here, the receptionist is going to be handing us a Pokedex as well as some tools that we might be needing. But before we can actually graduate and get our Pokemon trainer license, we actually need to do a few things. We need to go into a few classes. One of the first classes is this one right here with Thione or Thywon, which is actually a specifically class about catching Pokemon, how you do it. And again, as you can see, we have different dialogue options. We decide to go for the, I guess you could say, neutral option in this case. We don't go for the whole nuclear stuff and try to be mean. We find a Yamper in here. So yes, there are Generation 8 Pokemon which you can find, and I have mentioned this before in the beginning of the video, but this is a feature-filled game. There are so many features and so many cool things you can actually discover and do, and the game isn't even finished yet. It has 5 gyms at the moment, so just keep that in mind, but it is a fantastic game so far already. Either way though, we're dealing with a bunch of different Pokemon. After we completed this, we've completed the basics of, I guess, capturing in battle. We get an EXP all, which is great because now we can level up all our Pokemon at the same time instead of one by one, and we also get a few other quests. Now we still need to do one more thing, which is to learn about actual combat. So we go into the combat class and the basics of battle. So we go in here and we are talking to, I guess, the teacher Ophelia, who teaches us how things work. Now again, as we are a professional trainer, we already know how to do these things. Either way, this guy takes us on. He has a Psyduck, so it's a Wine Whip, just spam through most of this. There's also Scurriet, which is a brand new Pokemon, and this one is taken down easily by us in no way or shape was that difficult. We have another battle though. It's against this guy who is apparently a stoner. His name is Jax, which that's fine. We're up against this Fakemon, which I'm not going to be lying. It looked a bit weird. And then we also have to battle a lass or a student, classmate, whatever you want to call her. And she has a Houndour, which was a bit worrisome, but also we unlocked an achievement here. Because yes, there's also achievement unlocks in this game, which makes it even better. Either way though, now that we've dealt with that, what's going on? Well, we've actually finished. We're done with our education. So we go get our trainer card. As you guys may remember, we had to actually go and get something sorted. We specifically need to go help out the professor. So as we're doing this, we actually run into one of the professor's assistants named Sabik, who actually does a lot of digging and exploring. And he tells us, do you remember what you have to do? Do you remember that the professor needs to meet you? We tell him, yes, of course we do. And then we head out and we find just a random Vaporeon, and we decide we can pay it to surf on it. So we do exactly that as we just surf around a little bit and we find a Poliwag, which we do actually capture and add to our team. So yes, we do have a Poliwag in the squad now, which I of course am going to nickname Polly. If you know the reference to that, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to know if you guys know the reference. Why I'm calling it Polly. If you've seen one of my previous videos, or if you read the Pokemon manga, you will know. Either way, Swablu is up next, and here I think I decided to go and actually capture this one too, adding it to the team. And this one we nicknamed specifically Blue because I just thought it would be cool. And not blue the color, but just blue. So either way, after dealing with that, after finishing things up with Vaporeon, we actually have to head over to the old gym because that's where the professor is going to be waiting for us. We do go to the massive Pokemon Center and heal ourselves up first, but after doing all this, we head inside and we find one of the workers that works with the professor, but he is not in the mood to go down in that sketchy cavern, and instead he tells us, hey, if you can do it for me instead, go ahead. So we do exactly that. We take over his job of going into the cave. As we're in the buried caverns, we run into this strange man who is seemingly very angry that the giant rock, the green rock that was here, was taken. He gets angry and he tells us that he's going to kill us if we don't give it to him, but we decide to say, nope, mysterious trainer, we're not going to give it to you, and we battle him. He uses this weird looking Pokemon, which we do defeat with a quick attack. Unfortunately though, I don't think we win this battle. He's way too strong. He defeats us, and yeah, he just is about to take our life, but luckily we get saved, and he just leaves after he doesn't get the rock. So we do survive here, and the professor shows up and basically just tells us that it seems like a lot of people are after this artifact, the green rock that we found. After doing doing all this and talking to the professor, he tells us to go out on our journey, and we also receive a great ball from the guy who works for the professor who didn't want to go down into the cave. So a little bit of a reward for that. Either way, now that we've done with that, we're actually going to be heading up into the next city, which I think is Soul City. But nonetheless, along the way, we find a bunch of Pokemon, we find a bit of a Slowpoke as well, which we don't really need, and we take on a bunch of trainers. Eventually, we reach this bridge, and here we also just kind of make our way slowly towards the town. As we reach Soul City, though, we do have a few things to do. Our first gym battle is going to be here, but before that, we talk to the people in the row, and we ask them, excuse me, but is this the gym? Because there's a long line. And these guys are, well, they're actually our classmates. They know us from before, so they decide to actually battle us. So Caldwell is the first person up. He's a Diglett, so we go for the Wine Whip, which is a one-hit KO. Easily takes down the Diglett, no problem whatsoever. Houndour is a little bit more complicated, but the Wine Whip is enough here too to take him down, leaving only a Totemna, which is the, I guess, a brand new Pokemon, the last one that he has, and it's down. Now that we also have to deal with another one of the people, and it's Daphne, which is also one of our classmates from back in school from earlier. Same thing here, a Venipede is up first, then we have a Cubchoo, and same thing here, it's just mostly spamming Quick Attack, maybe a Wine Whip here or there, leaving only this last Pokemon on her side, which is a Rangife, which is a brand new Pokemon as well. Kind of looks a little bit like a, I want to say an evolution. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting when I look at this thing. But nonetheless, you guys know we're strong enough. We're going to take this down. And after we dealt this, they tell us, hey, you should probably go get a Pokénav if you want to, be a proper trainer. So we're like, okay, well, who's going to give us a Pokénav? There's apparently a guy in the city who has one. So we look around the map trying to figure out where we have to go and what we have to do because, well, we want to get a Pokénav, man. Why wouldn't we want to have a Pokénav? It's perfect. We also run into a Nova recruiter, and it turns out that those two people that we were talking to earlier and battling, our classmates, they actually joined Team Nova. As we get to the bridge, we find an old man who's dealing with a Nova recruit who's actually battling him and destroying his little Bonsley. So we decide to, hey, step in and help out here. So first up is going to be his Duskull. We got Kipvine out, so we go for the Wine Whip, but he gets hit by a Shadow Sneak, which takes us down. And as you may notice, the rest of our team is relatively weak. We don't really have the strongest Pokemon in the world, which is a little bit concerning, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, it is what it is. Afterwards, he actually is happy that we try to help him out. His name is Pythias, and Pythias is not going to give us the Pokénav unless we help him out. He wants to go into the Soul City Caverns, into the dungeon, or I guess cave of this city, and he wants to explore it because he's been hearing some rumors from there. So we decide to go heal up, and we meet him at the Pokemon Center, and he tells us to meet up at the Pokemart, and from there he's going to take us to the cavern. So after doing a bit of a conversating and talking, we actually go and decide to meet up at the Pokemart itself. So there it is, the quest has been taken up. We meet him up at the Pokemart, and we go inside of the cavern. And I must say, this place is pretty sketchy. I mean, going in here with a random dude is pretty sketchy too. But this is the Soul City Cavern. So quickly together, we go through and battle a bunch of different people. One of the first people we go up against here is this lady, who is a mix of Pokemon. And then there's mostly a bunch of different battles and Pokemon that are just wildly in the, just in the overworld and stuff like that. But then we run into this girl with a bunch of Jigglypuffs and stuff, and we battle her, but the problem with her is we actually lose against her. But then she runs into this other part of the cavern. When we go in here, it turns out this place is much darker, but something is lurking in here. She doesn't want to let us go all the way into the middle of the cave, and instead she actually battles us again. This time, though, her team is actually weak from the previous battle. So yes, the actual characters in this game, if they battle someone recently, their Pokemon will actually have less HP, which is really like a super cool feature. Either way, though, we raise the leaf through most of our team. Her Stuffle doesn't stand a chance, and her siblings are apparently dealing with a really powerful, ghost Pokemon that's lurking in here. So we decide, okay, we got to stop these kids from doing this because they're going to get in trouble. But they're apparently angry, so they battle us into a double battle. They have a Totemna and a Morlul, so we easily take them down with the help of both our Polly and Kipvine, which is not much of a trouble. But after doing all this, Kipvine actually evolves. So yes, we have a brand new Pokemon evolution in our squad, and it's going to evolve into this beauty. And this is specifically a Plaguar, whatever way you want to pronounce it. Turns out, though, that the Pokemon that was in the cave, the ghost type, was actually a giant Dusknoir, and it's level 57. So when we try to catch it or attack it or anything, we can't do nothing. So we're basically stuck here. So what do we have to do? Well, thanks to the help of Pythias, he throws a Pokédoll to confuse the thing and actually, I guess, distract it He also gives us a few Pokédolls in case we need them in the future, and that's really, honestly, really appreciated. Nonetheless, though, afterwards, we leave the cavern and we reach Pythias's house, and he was really happy because that was honestly his goal, just to get back home. And once we reach home, he gives us the Pokénav. So now that we have the Pokénav, we can check out the map at any location we're at, plus we can also do a bunch of other things. So once that's sorted, guess what? It's about time we go take on the gym. We buy a few repels, but before we can do any of that, we're going to take on the gym leader Titania. We actually have to deal with our, well, rival Bob once again. He has himself a weak team though, because he just came out of the gym, so his team's not going to be the best. He's got this weird gum thingy. I don't really know what it is. He also has, of course, the counter to our Pokemon, which is a Privini, which is the evolution of the Shaleepy from earlier. He also has a Rangive. We go for the quick attack, which doesn't do a lot of damage. So, you know, a Razor Leaf is more like actually useful in this case. But luckily though, our Plagueoar does survive relatively well. So when the last Pokemon, I think here's Beerodeer or Beerobird, comes in, as well as the Cutbite, we're able to take him out relatively quickly. So after doing all of this, of course, now we can take on the gym. He even gives us an EXP share, which is really cool, man. Bob is an actually relatively cool dude, I'm not gonna lie. Now that we're inside of the gym, it has a puzzle. Now, all the puzzles in these games for the gyms are really intricate and somewhat complicated. So what do? Well, we go first through and battle a few of the people inside here, because otherwise we won't be able to actually make any progress. So we take down one of the dragon tamers that works in here. We also find a Rocky Helmet, and I'm going to tell you right now, this Rocky Helmet is important. We give this Rocky Helmet to a Plagueoar. Now, Rocky Helmet, what it does is every time a Pokemon hits you with a physical move, it actually gets injured by that move as well. So if anything hits us with, let's say, I don't know, a Mach Punch or something, the person's going to take damage as well. Now it's time to take on the leader, Titania, which is the first gym leader in this game. She uses Dragon-type Pokemon. So yes, you're going to go up against Dragon types right off the bat, man, which is crazy. So she has a Overwrapped, which is a giant egg. We go for a bunch of Hone Claws. Now what Hone Claw does for us is it boosts our, you know, our actual physical attack, which is great. But that's not all. We're able to now do a bunch of damage with the Wine Whip, and of course finish things off, I think, here with a quick attack. But also, as you may notice, the Rocky Helmet actually saves us. That's the thing that keeps us really in check here. She also has a Gumi. It's a 1-hit KO, of course. She has a Tyrant. Same thing here. I think we just go for the, I think the Wine Whip, and it's pretty much a 1-hit KO as well. So a lot of our Pokemon going down to us relatively easily. However, Velocotta is up next. Now, this is the evolution of the egg Pokemon we saw earlier, and I think this thing might be like a, I could be wrong, Dragon Steel, something like that, I'm not sure. But what we do here is actually a Rocky Helmet and Potion spam. So basically, every time that this thing hits us with a Metal Claw, it takes damage as well. We only really just have to spam Potion, and we're able to defeat it with the final quick attack. So it's a perfect little tactic for that. She also has a Totsicle, which is a really awesome looking Pokemon. I'm guessing it's a Ice Dragon or Dragon Ice type, which is really sick. We take it down with a quick attack, and that's pretty much finished up that battle right there. And now we only really have the Shelgon left. Now, initially, the Shelgon did scare me a little bit. It is a Shelgon at the end of the day, but we did have those Hone Claws, so our attack is boosted. And of course, the Rocky Helmet does come in clutch. So when the Wine Whip outspeeds, we get our first gym badge. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've defeated Titania and taken down the first gym. And we get the scale badge, and it actually instantly goes to the trainer badge, like actual profiles. You guys can see as what it looks like and all that. Now we can use Pokemon up to level 35, which is awesome. And we also get Dragon Dance from her, which unfortunately I never actually put on any of my Pokemon, which is a little bit unfortunate, but nonetheless, still a good thing to have. Either way, we go and heal up and Nurse Joyce, and now we're gonna head into the next area, which is going to be into the forest. Now, this is the Deimos Forest, and in here, there seems to be a lot, and I really mean a lot of recruits of Nova. Like a lot of Nova members seem to be in here. We find a few Pokemon, like an Arakid, which is a weird spider Pokemon, but we also take down this one Grunt here as well. Most of his team is just relatively easy to take down. It's just quick attacking most of them because they're really just weak. Plagueoar is super strong at this point, so we take him down with no hitch. But we do also find something awesome, something that made me very, very happy. We find a Shroomish. Yes, one of my personal favorite Pokemon. I love Breloom. I love Shroomish. They're some of my favorites. We find one, and of course, we're going to capture it. And as for what we're going to call it, we're going to just call it Big Shroom. I mean, I'm not that creative, okay? I just like to go for some goofy names. So Big Shroom it is. Now, Big Shroom is in our team, and we are actually building a pretty decent team now. And we go into this cave that we find in the actual, I guess, forest. We find this lady who's offering to heal our Pokemon with some local fauna if we pay her like 800 Pokédollars, which is actually kind of a scam, I'm not gonna lie. But then we run into some Nova recruits. Now, these guys are talking about trying to stop people that are coming in and trying to recruit them to Team Nova. However, an old man shows up, and this old man, well, guess what? He tells them, I'm just not interested, people. Kids, I'm not interested in any of this. I don't care about your Nova stuff. I was actually part of Team Nova. So yes, this old man was used to be a part of it, but now he's actually part of the, I guess, Kepler Space Agency, which is the antithesis or the enemies of the Nova team. So either way, these guys decide to battle us in a double battle. We take down the Vulpix. There's also a Duskull, so we try to go and take down that one too with some Wine Whips and finish it off relatively easily. There's also an Arachid, and same thing here, just go for double slap with the help of Polly, and of course with some, I think, quick attacks there, and it just takes down all of them. And this person had almost, like, I don't even know, a ridiculous amount, because both of them were using 6 Pokemon, by the way. Like, they weren't just going 3 each. They were using 6 Pokemon. It is crazy. Also, now we know the name of that weird Pokemon. It's called Physics, which is a cool name because it sounds like the literal word physics. But either way, we take down the Nova recruits. They run away, and the old man thanks us for that, of course, and he tells us his name, which is Mimus, and of course we're trying to be nice and friendly with him, and he tells us that he actually works for the I guess, Keplara Space Institute or Space Station, and the people that work there, which are people trying to find, I guess, something out in space, like try and find more space out there for humans to move to instead of Earth itself. Either way, we also find a Mareep that we add to our team, and of course we're going to keep that friendly friend because Mareep is one of the meme Pokemon on our channel, so it just makes sense. Nonetheless, though, we make it down to a village. This is going to be the Lagea village. Down here, we don't really have much to do except maybe get ourselves a fishing rod, which is not that necessary because I don't really feel like I need water type Pokemon per se. We haven't really ran into anything where we do need one. We run into a Growlithe though, and I decide, hey, you know, fire types are always nice to have, so let's add that to our team. So yes, we have a Growlithe as well. As you may notice, I'm capturing a lot of Pokemon. I was just trying to make sure that a really interesting variety of Pokemon in my team, so it wasn't all just the same thing. Nonetheless though, now we're just going to make our way all the way to the next city. The next city is going to actually be where the next gym is as well, but before we get there, there's a lot of stuff along the way. We have to deal with this massive cavern filled with ice type Pokemon, and this guy's using a Phoenix or Phoenix or something like that. It actually looks a little bit like a Ho-Oh, which is kind of cool. And then of course also our Mareep evolves into a, well, you guys already know what it is. It's going to be a Flaffy. So either way, after doing a bit of the puzzling, we finally reach the Argadnell Lake, and also we reach the next city. But before we enter the city, we decide to go capture ourselves another Pokemon, and we get a Piplup. And I know I mentioned earlier I didn't really want a water type. Well, hey, you know, I lied. Either way, here we go. We've reached the harbor. It turns out that there is a person here, Asterion, and he's talking about how he wants to travel with his boat out into the wide sea to find more land, to find new land. But, well, guess what? Nova takes this opportunity to turn the people into, I guess, their pawns, or trying to, you know, convince them to join, I guess, Team Nova in this case. But again, the old man from earlier, Mimus from the forest, he told us, do not trust them. I used to be a part of their organization, and it's all a scam. The grunts don't even know what's going on. It's all BS. Do not trust it, and it's all a scammerino. So that's fair enough. But nonetheless, though, we decide to battle these guys and try to take them down. Unfortunately for us, though, after I defeated that Sableye, I thought, hey, this should be easy. No, it wasn't. I didn't have any max revives or anything, so we end up actually losing this battle as well. I've got to be honest, there's a lot of losses that I have in this game against the Team Nova members. Like, a lot of times against the villains, I feel like I do end up losing. And your choices in this game do matter. What you decide to do changes what actual things happen here. Either way, though, the boat owner, Asterion, thanks us for actually helping him out. It gives us a Mystic Water, but, you know, just for standing up for him. He's just happy that we did that. And we pick up a, well, actually, we find a Prinplup. I decide, you know what? I'm just going to ignore this Prinplup. I could battle it, I'd give it an item, or ignore it. I decide to ignore it, and it just jumps into the water and it disappears, which is random, but whatever. We enter inside of the next gym, and this is where we're going to be also finding ourselves a massive puzzle. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This puzzle was just difficult. So what you've got is a bunch of these spheles, okay? And you got to push them all around to block in these spots that are going to open up the next location. I got stuck. I had a lot of battles. It was very difficult to figure out exactly what to do. It took me a long time. But speaking of which, I want to ask you guys something. What is the best ROM hack you have ever played? I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below right now. If you've ever had a ROM hack that you've played that you really loved, let me know which one it was and what is, in your opinion, the best one that you've ever played. And I just want to know that in the comment section down below. Either way, though, by now we finished the puzzle. We reached the next battle. It's against Sharon, who is a ghost ice type leader, which is again a weird combo, but yes, a lot of these leaders are going to be combinations or dual typed and stuff like that. And this person, while he starts things off with a Duskull, I mean, he had a bunch of them around him. We of course go in and we use our friend Plaguear, and luckily though, this team, I actually think this gym battle was relatively the best one for us because we had Flaffy on our side, as well as of course Big Shroom, and just a lot of Pokemon with a lot of you could say just perfect, counters to his water typing. And I guess some of this Pokemon had water typings, but a lot of them also had ice typings because I think ice and ghost is his main thing here. Either way though, we also go into Piplup. We try to use that too here. Doesn't really do much. We kind of just use it as a way to revive and heal some of our other Pokemon like Pelaguar, which comes in next with the Wine Whip. And here we just try to spam the Quick Attack, Wine Whip, and just hoping this weird looking Pokemon goes down, which it eventually does. There's only 2 left now. It's Dusclops. So here we switch into, just mostly switching between our Pokemon into blue to make sure we heal up Plaguear to finish it off with those Wine Whip spams, which eventually do take this Dusclops down. Now that Dusclops is done though, there's one last Pokemon. It's a Sarfon. Oh, Sarfan, I don't know. Either way, this thing, same thing here, just Wine Whip, and it is done and dusted. And you guys know what that means? We defeated another gym, and also Piplup evolves into a Prinplup. So we have a brand new evolution. We also have ourselves a brand new badge. That means 2 badges, and we also get a few new moves and TMs. We also run into this people like they're preparing to go somewhere with a person called Kit Alpha, who, is going to be leading them to some sort of cavern. But we also see the evil, mysterious guy from earlier, so we can actually follow them and see what happens. As we're going there, though, we run into a little Eevee, and I decide, you know what, let's just battle it and take it out. We could have actually caught it, but I decided not to. On our way, we also run into a thief trying to steal our Pokemon, but we just battle him and take down his team relatively easily. Then we reach the others, and they're right here to try to enter a cavern. We join the group, and Kit Alpha, which is just a random person who works here and knows a lot about these caves and just these relics that are here, is telling all the other people about what's going on. We enter inside of the cavern together with Kit Alpha, and the mysterious man also shows up, and well, he's doing something dubious. As we're down here, we're talking to Kit Alpha. Kit Alpha is telling us all about the things here in Centauri City. As a person goes down and takes a Pokeball, a wild Pokemon comes in, and a bunch of stuff goes just crazy. So now we are stuck down here. We have to deal with a bunch of these Pokemon that are causing havoc. Like, it's just pure chaos. So we got to help and save these people from the situation. Kit Alpha, though, is thankful that we helped out, and it was really weird this Pokemon attack, when all of a sudden this giant eye from the ground just comes out of nowhere, and it actually takes Kit Alpha. Yes, this person, it's the mysterious evil man from earlier. He just decided to self-destruct this place, and then also he decided to kidnap Kit Alpha. Now, Kit Alpha seems like a genuine person, so we pick up some of these items here, these potions, and now we got to make our way through this giant cave. So we go around, we're looking for someone. We need to go find some person to help us go and save Kit Alpha, because there's other people in this cave too. As you guys may remember, there's a bunch of other people as well earlier. So as we're looking around, eventually we do find our way, and we actually find a person who can help us out. And it's going to be Pythias. You guys remember Pythias from earlier who helped us in the cavern? Well, he's here, and he teaches us how to use Rock Smash. Eventually, we exit the cave, and we tell the others that Kit Alpha was kidnapped. So now we got to go and save Kit Alpha. First of all, we head back to, I guess, Centauri City, and then we make our way through the cave, trying to reach directly to where they are located. And this is, again, just a long amount of puzzles. It's just a lot of surfing over, or not really surfing, but just gliding on a bunch of ice all over the place, trying to figure out a way to get, up to where we want to go, which, yes, as you may notice, it takes a long time. It's a very time-consuming process, and these puzzles can be a bit complicated. Either way, we find Pythias again, and as we're doing this, we eventually, after doing these puzzles for a long time, we reach the mysterious man, and Kit Alpha is there too, knocked out and kidnapped. So we got to battle the mysterious guy once more. Now, last time, you guys may remember, we end up losing. However, this time, we should be a bit stronger. First up is this random looking Pokemon. We still did not know the name, the name of that one, and as well as a giant eye Pokemon, and again, this thing too. Like I said, we don't know the names of these things. This just doesn't get revealed to us for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but eventually, with the help of our whole team and even a flame wheel here from the help of our little Growlithe, we're able to finish off him and actually get the victory this time. So we do win this battle this time around, and then with the help of also Pythias, his high horsepower from his little Mudbray takes down his team, and we're able to stop this guy. However, he does have a Pokemon that, I guess, a Veil Eye, which teleports him away. We get a big thank you from Kit Alpha and the others. We tell them that we have a rock that he really wants to get his hands on, but that we're not going to give him. After dealing with all that, we actually exit the Cepheus path and then head down here. This guy teaches us how to use Cut, and before you know it, we have to battle Bob again. So yes, Bob, our rival, is back at it again. He wants to battle us. Luckily for us, though, we are relatively strong this time around, but actually not strong enough. You might think we will win this, but it turns out we end up losing this battle, but it's not the end of the world. Instead, we reach the next city. Now, this place is Sirius Wharf. Now, Sirius Wharf is such a cool place. You've got actually battle facilities here and a bunch of cool stuff. But before we do any of that, we want to go and take on, of course, the gym battle. That's the most important one. We want to battle the gym leader here, who's going to be this fella called Thermir. Now, he actually uses, I think, Steel-type Pokemon and Fighting-type Pokemon, something like in that combination.
He starts off with a Tyrannoloy, which is a evolution of the previous Pokemon we've seen earlier. We take that one down with Prinplup, which is becoming a big part of our team, to be honest. We got a Lucario coming up next. Now here I decide to switch out and I go and make sure to heal up Prinplup because I do know that Prinplup is like the only Pokemon that can do anything in this case in the scenario. So we go for the Bubble Beam, which does a decent amount of damage, but he hits us with an Aura Sphere. We go for a second Bubble Beam, and then it's just mostly switching here. We go in with Shroomish just to kind of delay and Super Potion up our Prinplup, and then finally we go in with Growlithe, who also dies. So now we only have Prinplup and our, our original starter left. That's all we really have. But eventually we take down the Lucario, and now we have to deal with the rest of the team. Cyclober, which is this giant bear, we take this one down with the help of Plaguear. We also have Girder, which we also are able to take down with the help of Wine Whips, which are really strong, by the way. And then there's also this Pterot, which I think is the evolution of one of those previous Pokemon we met, like one of the first ones we saw back in school. So I'm assuming this is one of these. It uses Body Press, which is a little annoying, but we keep Wine Whipping it, and eventually we should be able to take it down. It does seem to get healed up quite a lot, but a quick attack, and that's about it. And there's only a shiny Metang left at this point. So yes, just shiny Metang we got to deal with. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's not that big of a deal. Eventually, we're going to take it down. And guess what, ladies and gents? That is the third gym badge. Yes, we completed the third gym. We completed that part of our journey. Now we have the Edifice badge, and now we can actually train up Pokemon all the way to level 50. We go inside this building, and what it turns out here is that this is where the game ends for me. My game actually didn't want to continue working. There was a bug that broke the game here, and I couldn't continue. But I want you guys to continue and playing the game and see what happens towards the end. Let me know in the comment section down below. Bye.